Welcome back to Tools and Track. In this episode, we're going back to Knockhill, but you've probably already guessed that because it's raining. As you've probably noticed, I am not in Noisy Boy. That's because this expedition to Knockhill is not going to be for racing. No, in this episode we're doing something slightly different. Previously we had Strong Brew Racing on as a bit of a guest slot, and since then I've been in touch with Neil, and this weekend on the championship he's short on a team member. Now, knowing that I've tinkered with cars before, Neil's thrown down the gauntlet and challenged me to come and wrench on his team for the weekend while he does driving. This is a bit of a concern for me, simply because, yes, I'm able to use a spanner, however, I've never actually used it in anger professionally before. I'm an engineer by trade, not a mechanic. There is, by the way, a difference. I haven't actually got to a point where I was happy to work in other people's cars until quite recently, simply because if I work in my own car and it breaks for me. It inconveniences me. So, if that's a situation, I live with the consequences. Not a big deal. Fair enough, not a good deal, but still, you don't really want to have somebody else be inconvenienced by your hand. It's something I've always held strong as a value. If you're going to do something to somebody else's car, you do it right. Recently, working in road cars, I've got to a proficiency, shall we say, where I'm happy enough to go, yes, I will fix X person's car for them. That's a road car. What I'm going to do now is work on a car that up until this point I have seen in pictures, and until very recently I've never seen unwrapped in the flesh. So today is going to be interesting. That's not to say that I'm not going to enjoy it. This is, quite a unique opportunity. I mean, it's not quite Guy Martin going to work in a Formula 1 team, but to me, it's not kicking the balls off. Now, whilst it's exciting, that's not to say that I'm not a little bit apprehensive about this. Why? Well, I've never done anything like this before, so I need to get it right. And I don't just need to get it right because if I get it wrong, Neil might have a strong conversation with some Armco. No, this is a championship weekend. Okay, today we're setting the car up for testing, so, the consequences aren't going to be quite as bad as him having an off by my hand not doing something right on an actual race. All the same, testing is an invaluable part of racing. We're going to set this car up for Knockhill for this weekend. That doesn't just mean pumping air into the tyres and making sure it works. I'm reliably informed there's a bit more to it than that. When I get there, I'm going to have, I would say at best, a 40-minute chat on what the car is, how to adjust everything on it, and then how to support Neil whilst he's strapped into it and can't get out, and show me how to fix whatever he needs fixed. I am equal measures bricking it and giddy with excitement here. Right, we're dressed, as you can see, less high vis this time. Got my salopettes, big jacket, although looking around I've completely misjudged it, as it's absolutely glorious. Living well. Glorious it was. Eventually, after driving around the paddock, I found Neil and we set up. Once we pulled his Formula 4 out, he gave us a quick run through on what he was going to need for the day. Thankfully, it was only a few bits and bobs, some tweaking, getting the tyres set up and monitoring pressure throughout the day. This was a relief. Why? Because my suspicions were confirmed. It was only me. So, no pressure, much. I managed to get a shot of everything, changing over from the original wets onto dries, because sunshine, and looking into some of the finer adjustments of the car. For example, setting up the spring rates and messing around with the anti-roll bars in the back and the front. This wasn't just a little tester. I may have to do this when the car was on the track. The more time I would have to spend adjusting things on the track meant the less time Neil would have to be on track, so things would have to move pretty quickly. I would even have to go as far as to strap Neil in, simply because there isn't enough arm room in that car for him to do it himself. It gets quite personal at Knockhill. With Neil all safely strapped in, it was time for us to move down to the paddock. Now we're waiting in the pits, waiting to see if Neil comes in. If he does, we've got to check tyre pressures, and if needed, do any adjustment to the suspension, which I'm sure he'll tell me when he comes round. Following 5 laps of the first practice session, Neil came into the pits. Upon his arrival, I checked with him to see what was required for me. Thankfully, it was just a quick check of all 4 tyres, after I eventually worked out what Neil was trying to say over the noise. If any of the 4 tyres were low on heat, there was a good chance Neil had an issue. If all 4 tyres were low on heat, he wasn't pushing the car hard enough. The higher the tyre pressure, the more heat is in them. So after checking all 4 corners, we determined that the pressures were too low. Come on Neil, back out and track and push it a bit harder. That's so good. The only thing we've had to look at is tyre pressures. They seem to be fine. So, less of info the better. Second pit of the first test session was a bit more of an involved effort. Neil was looking for an adjustment on the rear anti-roll bar, presumably because the car was either going too sideways or not sideways enough. So, out with the spanners and a quick tweak, to a set level that I cannot divulge. That's us, 2 pits in total, no major traumas. Back to the paddock. First test session in, all's pretty well, no major changes having to be made. We have tweaked a couple of things which, at Neil's request, I've not put on camera because, let's face it, it's a competitive series. So we just got an hour or so to wait. We'll just put the car back together and then it's session 2, which all going well. Should involve very little pit time and set the car up nicely for tomorrow. Fingers crossed. So good, 4 laps in, no emergency pits, so it looks like it'll probably just be a check on tyre pressures and a good test session. We can relax a bit now. The day wore on and the tooling had to be reduced, right until the very end when we managed to snap 2 wheel studs. On the back and then another on the front, but I missed all that because the batteries ran out of power. Oh well. Oh man, that's me now on the roads. Out of Knockhill. I'm still trying to catch my breath, man. I'm so tired. That was an intense day. Even like starting at 12, that was intense. Typically, very little happened until the very end. And annoyingly, any other time where you get to that time of night and something breaks, you just go, nah, doesn't matter, I'll come back to it tomorrow. Except in that situation, you can't come back to it tomorrow because tomorrow you need to actually race and know you've got a car that works. So yeah, totally different dynamic to working and stuff in your garage, but yeah, what an experience. That was a privilege. Not exactly Guy Martin working with a Formula 1 team, but still just such a different way of working in cars. Yeah, quite hard to summarise because my brain's still pickled from having frantically had to change wheel studs that had sheared and get a car ready. I'm really glad I don't have tens of thousands of pounds lying around because that would possibly be how I'd spend my weekends. Up until now, myself and Cogs have absolutely no idea whether or not we are any cop as drivers at all. I mean, there's a big difference between being able to have a spirited drive on a back road and do what these guys do. A big difference. Everyone bemoans winter has been cold and wet and miserable. Not so for the petrol head. Winter is the time when all your great plans come together. For us, we now know what we need to do to get these cars ready. We've had Neil's input, we've had our own input. So for the next 6 months, let's get ourselves pegged down and get these cars ready for race season next year. I say race season, track season. But yes, First track, not kill. Second track, who knows? Like, subscribe, throw us a message if you want to see us there first.